What prompted you to write this book?
Well, Karthikeya, that's an interesting question. As we complete, as we will be observing 1 year of Operation Sindoor, we need to realize that barely 15 years ago or 17 years ago, between 2004 and 2009, India was afflicted by, you know, dual terrorism. One from Pakistan sponsored groups. On an average, there would be one major terror blast across the country every 40 days. But simultaneously, there was another form of terrorism brewing in the hinterlands, in the forests of Bastar, across the 100 districts which had formed the so-called Red Corridor of CPI Maoist. So, in fact, in May 2010, 148 passengers of a train traveling from traveling from Kolkata to Mumbai were brutalized because of the sabotage of a railway track at Midnapore. And 7 weeks before that, 74 CRPF Jawans were ambushed and killed in Dantewada by the Naxals. Unfortunately, despite the magnitude of the menace, there was very little conversation, there was very little political willpower to go after Naxalism. So this generation, the younger generation, will probably not realize what India has gone through, the national security threat, both external and internal, which India has witnessed about 17 years ago. Today, when India is officially Naxal free, or maybe barring one district where there are some sediments of those Naxal groups who again would be wiped out in the next couple of months, this generation needs to know the importance of political willpower, which Prime Minister Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah have displayed in eradicating this menace. And at the same time, since India is surging ahead with some very definite goals towards its Viksit Bharat, targets, I have analyzed the role of these 100 districts which were hitherto afflicted by the Naxal menace, and how these 100 districts, a majority of whom also, come under the Aspirational Districts program launched by Prime Minister Modi in 2018, how the economic mainstreaming of these districts from here will subsequently add to our potential GDP growth in the next 3 to 4 years.
Do you think that the romanticization of dissent against the state, and I'm not talking about authentic dissent, I'm not talking about authentic protest, dissent against the state also contributed to the brutalization
Well,
of
absolutely.
of the rural spaces. You thought something in university, and then you went to those rural spaces, and then it turned into something completely different because you brutalized their life, you brutalized people who never wanted to be part of it, and a lot of people came into the crossfire.
Well, absolutely. There is a section which deals with the potential threat from the urban Naxal mindset, which still exists. Maybe it's in a slightly dormant form today because of its limited scope today. But there is a very interesting chapter on Salwa Judum. Salwa Judum was a one of its kind people's movement launched against Naxal groups by tribals in Chhattisgarh. And very interestingly, that was initiated by the leader of opposition in Chhattisgarh Assembly, a senior Congress leader, Mahendra Karma. And subsequently, it was supported by the then Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, a BJP Chief Minister, Dr. Raman Singh. So it was a rare experiment where both the local leadership of BJP and Congress were on the same page and who felt that this rather innovative movement was required to break the backbone of the Naxal groups. And it was primarily led by tribals. Now, every movement has some, aberrations, has some exceptions to it. So, in the next 4 or 5 years, despite significant success of this movement, the UPA government at the center seemed to give in to the propaganda of vested groups which wanted to paint it as a extrajudicial movement of which wanted to completely decimate it. So in 2011, finally, the movement was struck down by Supreme Court. Nandini Sundar was the chief litigant against the movement. and Menaka Guruswamy, who fought the case against Salva Judum, as you are aware today, has been promoted by TMC as its Rajya Sabha MP. The judge who passed the judgment against Salva Judum, Sudarshan Reddy, was rewarded by Congress Party 14 years later when Congress Party made him the vice presidential candidate last year. So my limited point over here is that the urban Naxal mindset was supported by several, current opposition parties which were then in positions of power.